I made this discovery about a week ago when I got annoyed yet again that I couldn't do something with Windows 11 that I could easily do with Windows 10. I asked YouTube for a solution to this problem, and instead of giving me one, it just showed me other alternative explorers I could use instead of Windows Explorer. The first one it showed me was Directory Opus. Now, this program is written by an Australian company, and it seems to have amazing features. And I was really interested in it until I discovered that it really costs quite a bit. Now, you can get a license for a single machine for about $60 US or 90 Australian. But if you have more computers like I do, it's going to cost you a lot more, and that didn't make me very happy. You do get one laptop along with however many licenses you buy. What I did discover was that if before downloading it, I registered, and I would then get a 60-day trial so I could see if I really thought it was worth it. And so I went ahead, downloaded it, and have been amazed at what I've found. When you first open it up, you see something like this. This is called a lister. This is like a Windows Explorer window, but you can have many different listers that have all kinds of different layouts and shapes and everything else. If we look at this, the first line is a menu toolbar. The second line is an operations toolbar. And the third line isn't there to begin with. I added that later and put a bunch of favorites on it. And I have also changed the operations toolbar by this time. I added the Show Pictures button. Normally, Director's Opus shows pictures using its own viewer, but I like to use Max View. So I turn off that feature, and the Show Pictures button brings up their viewer, which is a nice viewer. It just doesn't have the same features I'm used to. And I removed a couple other buttons, so I have room to add more as I discovered their usefulness. Now, here we see a folder tree and two different windows that have, or two different panes that have a folder in each. And the active one is the one that has a blue bar above it. Now, all of these colors and so on can be configured. And you see here the folders are blue and so on. But you can change all of this. You can also change the size of all these things. And what's even more amazing is you can change the font size of the windows. So I really found it interesting. So here's another example. This is moving the panes and making them vertical panes and moving the toolbars between them. I thought this might be easier to get to because you could just jump to the toolbar in the middle easily. But I really don't like it in the vertical plane because it takes up too much room. You can also add a folder tree on both sides to show where you are on each side. But otherwise it shows you on the left folder tree where you are and the one that's active at the moment. Now here's a version that has horizontal panes, and you see the bars that are in the middle, both the operations bar and the favorites bar. And I thought that I would like this, but I'm beginning to decide otherwise. Now here's a nice view, and you can either put the toolbars back on top or not. Here they're on the side. But this gives you just one folder, so you have a lot more room to see it. Here's where you can pick some of the various options. You use the pull down by the lister thing. Also notice that I can make the lister look like various other programs like Commander and so on. Now, more recently, I decided I like this version where I've made the width of the folder tree smaller. I've made the pane on the right have smaller type, and I've made the one in the middle have larger type because I have trouble seeing, so that's very useful. And you'll see here that there's tremendous flexibility in what the width of the columns are. Here I'm missing the columns to the right, but as we scroll to the right, we see that it's locked or frozen the left column, and you can freeze more if you want. So it allows you to pan over and see everything. The type column is wide because its width is set to automatic, which means whatever is needed for the display. And because it's so wide, there must be something further down that's wider. And as we'll see in some other examples, you can also make the columns smaller than even the minimum that Windows Explorer would allow. I'll do a whole other video on all the features of how you can adjust things. So notice here I've run my cursor over one of the files and I see a lot of information about the file. Because it's a graphic or image or video, it shows me a little thumbnail of it. And here's, as we scroll down, we see the wider name that was further down. Now, here I'm going to give an example of what can happen as we change the way a folder is viewed. The top folder is active, and if I go up here to the choice for view, and I pick details and thumbnails, I get something like this. And if I scroll down, I would see thumbnails with all the pictures. We're not seeing any thumbnails for the other folders, unlike the favorites folder. But that's because they're in the cloud and it's never looked at those folders, so it hasn't had a chance to build thumbnails for them. But if you scroll down, you'd see thumbnails for the various pictures that are in the folder. Now, here I'm going to change the view to thumbnails. And you've noticed I've gotten rid of what was on the right. And here are the thumbnails. And now I'm going to show you a little video of what can happen to change the size of the thumbnails.